Look from the book, presented by TopSport.
All right, great to catch up with Tristan Merlehan from TopSport. We spoke to you Monday. You were sitting poolside, Tristan. You were holding the phone up, which was becoming a really arduous task for you. But how have you pulled up? Are you out of isolation yet?
No, g'day boys. I'm still in isolation, but yeah, that was enough of a arm workout for me. I've turned everything over and made sure I've got the internet working back in the house again now because I couldn't go through that again. My arms aren't up to holding up the phone. It's a sad state of affairs, to be honest.
What I am curious about, Tristan, is that given you're a Queensland base and everything, Warrnambool, a midweek meeting, in reality, what's it been like, turnover like for you, given the fact there's been a lot of jumps races and it's midweek Victorian meeting? We, of course, are a little bit closer to the action than you guys, but how's it been turnover-wise?
Yeah, no, it's been really good, actually. Like, it's probably one of our, apart from obviously Cup Week where you got a lot of those midweek races, but from a provincial type setup, it would be our busiest midweek of the year in terms of the provincial meetings. And we got the Wagga Town Plate and Wagga Cup tomorrow as well. So that sort of adds a little bit of an extra element today too. So no, it's been really, really good. It's we've had some big holds. It's been one of those carnivals as well where the punters started early on day one. We got a bit back late in day one, and then it's sort of been up and down. So I'd say we're all square coming into the final day too.
A lot of people go straight from Warrnambool on the Thursday, drive on to Wagga on the Friday if you're desperate. The one year I did it, Santa Ana Lane won the Wagga Town Plate at 10-1.
You were on?
That was worth the drive. Just think about it. Santa Ana Lane, 10-1 on the Wagga Town Plate.
It's staggering. Just quickly, when I caught up with you last night, Turf, and I'm digressing a little bit here, but you were giving out a hot tip for the Warrnambool Cup, the Greyhound Warrnambool Cup.
The pink.
The pink, okay, that's disappointing.
The favourite one.
Okay, Tristan, what's turnover been like on the jumps racing exclusively down there at the Bull?
Yeah, there's been a few races where there's been some holds. Obviously, it's never as big as the flat racing, but it's I've found it probably compared to years gone by. It certainly feels like on face value there's more turnover and also more tickets. I think that's also a very important metric that you've got, not just purely looking at turnover, but more people getting involved and engaged. And I feel like there's been plenty of people having a bet on the jumps racing this year.
That's a really important measure of engagement, is how many people are betting as opposed to just the dollar value.
You know what I think, and maybe we could have talked about this when we were talking about Warrnambool, I think one of the issues with the turnover on jumps racing is that nobody knows the jockeys. Certainly not as well as the flat jockeys.
They're not household names.
They're
not riding on Saturdays.
And when we had the Ted Burns and the Nick Harnetts and the Craig Durns, and Steve Pateman, of course, still got, that helped. That helped the caper, and maybe it's something that the industry could focus on is helping with the profile of the jumps jockeys.
But I think
you think, Turfy, that's on the back of there being less and less races, of course. Like I think back in yesteryear, we used to have more races on a Saturday. Your one-off race on a Saturday, and people would get to know those jockeys. So it's a tricky one to manage the balance of it. But yeah, I agree. Like you want to have these guys that are superstars of the sport.
It's not a criticism; it's just an observation.
Did you notice? Back to the jumps racing, Kia put their brand on the jumps on the weekend.
Yeah, that's a big stamp, isn't it?
It is, because a lot of companies are angsty about jumps. I thought it was a really positive step forward. I didn't mean to jump in like that, but I remember thinking on the weekend, that's fascinating and encouraging to see that's the case.
Tristan, question without notice, and you can come back to me on it or just not answer it at all. Warrnambool is famous for plungers over the years. It's a really strong betting ring. Is there one that stands out to you across your bookmaking career at Warrnambool where maybe the punters got you, or maybe they absolutely backed one off the map and you guys ended up with the cash in the bag?
Well, I actually, without going back into too many years ago, I can dig that up and maybe give you a bit of info on Monday about that one. But one that from this year that on the flux, it was only $2.25 into $1.90 Bubble Palace, but it was absolutely smashed off the map with us. It was only having its second start, I think, and it was one goer there early on day one of the carnival. And then the other one that I saw as well, it was down the bottom. There were a couple there that were absolutely smashed, I think it's probably one of those things where a lot of punters a lot of trainers set their horses for these races early in their preps in the maidens and those sort of things, where they know there's going to be some big betting affairs. They know they're going to be able to get set. So it's always a tricky one when you see that sort of run of money early. You go, oh, there could be something happening here. But yeah, that one on day one was absolutely a massive go, Bubble Palace.
Yeah, and Portland Jimmy actually on day one was a huge go, which sort of puzzled me because I really didn't think he'd run 2 miles over the jumps, did you? And he was smashed.
I didn't necessarily. That's the Persian Prince's Ben Asghari's Bubble Palace, so that would have been his money. The only thing that would have stopped him backing it was the gates opening.
Yeah, the other, just going towards, just talking about Bubble Palace, when the race, the guts of the field was first starters, I think once there was no genuine go for anything other than Lord Kennywells, it did make Bubble Palace extremely hard to beat, didn't it?
And she looks a pretty good filly as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Tristan, great racing in South Australia this weekend. It looks a really good Robert Sangster Stakes, the Group 1. But across the country, who have been the runners that punters have latched on to early doors?
Yeah, it's probably one of those weeks, I guess, with there being such a focus on Warrnambool, that almost the Saturday racing takes a step back a touch until we get to Friday and maybe even Saturday morning. So you don't get as much pre-post this week. It's just a trend where punters are more interested in what's happening on the day. But probably one of the biggest goes of the day so far has been, of the weekend so far, should I say, is Tobin Bronze, in the Tobin Bronze Stakes, should I say, race 5, number 2, General Bow. It's been $5 into $4.60 and just been very, very well found at a lot of different price points. But in Melbourne as well, they've latched onto one in the last. So the last race there, Flash R, it's been $4.80 into $4, and it's absolutely been backed at every price point in what we expect to be a big betting race. So that could be one there for the punters in the last race.
There's a horse who's found a bit of form now in Victoria, Flash R, and ran a good second the other day. I think he's out to 2,000 this weekend, isn't he?
He is. Those last 2 races at Caulfield are over the 2,000 metres.
He's going good. He's going good, mate.
He certainly is. You English speak good.
Yeah.
Tristan, multi, let's go. Okay, so last week, for those who didn't catch it, we had a couple of winners. Paul missed the mark.
Then let's go back a step. You two geldings put place bets on.
Geldings.
And I thought,
Rick, surely.
It's you can keep going down that narrative. Again, Turf, 2 weeks ago, tissues are out, Matt was crying, a couple of winners, and he starts...
They'll be back Monday, don't worry.
Wow.
Solid as a pound of butter in the sun is our man, Matt Welsh. Yes.
Taxi driver, let's go. What do you like? What are you doing?
Firstly, okay, I'm going to start with a place bet, but hang on, smart Alec. She's good odds, so it's quite a juicy little place price here. Caulfield, race 3, and I do love this little mare, number 5, Awapuni Princess. I know she's going to be giving them a start. I know she's first up. Got the claim there. I like the fact that she's drawn wide because I know she won a race at Caulfield one day, but it was darting in between them. She can come around them here at Caulfield. Awapuni Princess, the place. I think she's around about 370, 380, Tristan?
Yeah, 380. 13 the win, 380 the place. So, yeah, Barry 12, Matthew Cartwright in the settle.
Just to run the drum.
I just hope the track's playing fairly, Matthew, at Caulfield on Saturday.
Always does, Caulfield. What are you doing, Paul?
Race 5 for me, number 3, It's Our Time for the win, Tristan, in case you needed any encouragement. And then, finished second behind Extreme Warrior. I am kind of nervous about Starry Legend. The Suddlers are very confident.
Are you also nervous that you're the last leg of the multi?
Not at all. Again, it'll be the easiest stall. As long as you two get home, we're pretty much there. So, lock it in, Turf. Lock it in.
It's Our Time. I'm going race 1, so we'll rip it off like a Band-Aid.
You're going to go for that 2-year-old, aren't you?
Maximilius.
Yeah.
Race 1 at Caulfield. Tristan, what does that come out at?
That comes out at 31.92. So we got race 1, number 6.
Round it up, Tristan.
We got race 3, number 5.
You'll round it up to 31.95.
Yeah.
And then race 5, number 3, It's Our Time
Tristan.
at $3.
Tristan.
It's if we can get that one up, it'll be a nice little result there. For
what do you mean
it cannot lose.
Oh, don't you start, you pickle.
It cannot lose.
Just before we let you go, Tristan, your lay of the day, world famous segment, you barely miss. What are you taking on this week?
Yeah, I'm going to look at a race. I'm a bit reluctant to say this horse because it's been such a good horse for many, many years, and we have a little bit of affiliation with the Grand Syndicates. But I just worry that Behemoth may not be coming back, or may not be back like it was in the spring. So we just feel that at the 390, that's race 7, number 1 in the DC Mackay Stakes. I think it probably should be a bit closer to the other horses, Bo Rosser and Ironclad in the betting. So at about the $4 mark, I think it's going to drift, and I think, unfortunately, a couple of the others might get over the top of it.
I'm with him.
I'm with him too.
All right. There we go.
In that case, Tristan is definitely going to win.
Throw it in the
I'm
multi.
going to back it. All right, Tristan, great to catch up. Look forward to chatting Monday. Good luck for the weekend.
Thanks, guys. Speak to them.
A Good Three with Dr. Turk, Matt Welsh and Paul Tatnell.